Welcome to Step Up and Thrive, where you get quick and easy tips on business management, productivity, stress management, work-life balance, and marketing. I am Tuuli Paksi, personal development coach, and my task here is to introduce you to various ways to succeed in business while keeping your sanity. Today we are speaking about nomad life with kids. My guest today is Julia Jerg. Julia Jerg is the founder of Jerg, a family travel and digital nomad blog for aspiring nomads and families. She is also a social media marketing coach, public speaker, author, course creator, and blogger for Germany. In 2011, she quit her job, sold all of her belongings, bought a one-way ticket, and turned into a successful digital nomad. Welcome, Julia.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Tuuli.
You're a digital nomad since 2011. Why and how? Can you please share your story?
Yeah, sure. So I started in 2011. Actually, it was more like the plan to go on a not gap year, but I quit my job back then. I was working in an agency, a communications agency, marketing, and I worked simply too much. And I realized, okay, life has to have something else on offer. Also, my health, my body was sending me signals saying, okay, you're not even 30, but you feel like a 40, 50-year-old manager or CEO of a big company, but the bank account wasn't as big. So I said, something is wrong here. Even though I loved my job, I loved my old life back then, I thought I had it all. But deep inside of me, there was a nagging voice saying, okay, you're not happy. That's not it. Okay, so over a couple of beers with my best friend back then, she just came back from a year in Mexico and said that was the best decision. And she would also recommend simply, take a break. She said, go for a couple of months and then you have a fresh brain and then you know what you want to do. And I said, whoa, back then for me, this was really not the best idea, because I thought, oh, no one will ever hire me again if I come back. So it was a long thought process. But eventually I bought that one-way ticket, and it was an open ticket valid for 1 year. And I said, okay, I'll be back in about 2 months. And 1 month into my journey, I went first to India, which was a really crazy start, to be honest. But that was my first destination, and it was eye-opening. And I was like, oh my God. And I met so many inspiring people. And yeah, by the end of my second month, I knew I would not going to be able to stop, and I had to go on. And I was, and then I decided, okay, I'm going to stretch my funds, because I had quite some savings that I actually wanted to use to when I was going to go back to Germany in order to start my business. But then I decided to spend it on traveling. So my 2 months turned into a full year, and by the end of that year, I accidentally fell in love with my partner today, who's also the daddy of my 2 sons. So so I was not only in love with traveling, but also with my man, and I knew I had to make it work somehow, to not go back to Germany, because he's from Chile, from South America, and he was in travel mode, and he wanted to go to Brazil when he met me. And then we decided to simply keep on traveling together for a while. And then I was actually lucky enough to have that former clients from that agency where I used to work. They reached out to me saying, are you ever going to come back? And if not, can you maybe help us from the distance? And that's when it clicked on me, Up until that point, I thought, okay, I need to find a job somewhere. I even applied, for the classical backpacker jobs behind the bar or in a hotel or restaurant and stuff. And it never worked for me. They would always say, "Oh no, we don't need someone for the reception in a hotel, but you can help us with our marketing." And so actually, yeah, I only had a couple of backpacker jobs, but then I was able to continue with my job, my career, my marketing. And when those former clients asked me this question, I said, okay, if I can work for one client, I can definitely work for more than more clients. And that's when slowly but surely my brain got rewired, and I then, I mean, we're talking, this is a process, right? I'm telling this now in a very short time frame, but it took me a few years in order to accept the fact that there is a life outside of Germany, that I can make money outside, and that there is such a thing that like remote work. I stumbled across the term digital nomad after I had been living the digital nomad lifestyle for, I think, 2 or 3 years. But then I thought, oh, there's such a thing. There's a label to my lifestyle. Even there are other people. I'm not the only crazy person, and so on and so forth. And that's when I decided. That was then, I think, 4 or 5 years after I left Germany. That's when I decided to create a real business around it. And now I'm bubbling. You have to stop me if you only ask me how I started, and I just keep on talking until you stop me, right? Because then essentially I can maybe close the circle and say that's when I created my brand, Jade Jetter, where I started talking about my travel lifestyle, but also gave tips and advice for other people who wanted to start the digital nomad lifestyle.
Hmm.
Yes.
Really interesting life and really interesting journey you've had.
Thank you.
You mentioned that you have two sons. How has the birth of your children influenced your nomad style?
So my oldest son, he will turn 4 in May. And when I was pregnant with him, we were just cruising around in the Philippines. And even though we said eventually we're gonna have kids, it took us by surprise, to be honest. It was quite because I was just attending a travel blogger conference there, and I was networking a lot, and I had made so many good contacts, and someone invited us over to Australia, and we wanted to go back there anyways. So this was an opportunity for us to go back to Australia, and I actually wanted to start a business over there in Melbourne with someone. And then I found out I was pregnant, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. And not only that, and then we said, okay, kids cannot stop us. We will be able to still, keep going and live our life. And then we decided to go to Australia. But then a couple of months later, we were actually sitting then in Bali, and we're just applying for visas for Australia, and we're just ready to book our flights. And then my mom messaged me, telling me about her. She was sick. She was diagnosed with cancer, and that was it was shortly before Christmas. I was pregnant, so highly emotional. I hadn't seen my mom in 5 years because I was gone. That was after I was on the road for 5 years. And so the combination of everything and then her news just made me, stop with that plan and just book a flight to Germany. And I said, okay, I need to stick around for a while. I have to see my mom and, just, be there. And so it happened that my first son, Vincent, he was born in Germany, completely not planned. I was 7 months pregnant. I had to, you know, get back into the system, which was harder than I ever thought. I had nothing there, no home address. I wasn't registered. I was gone for more than 5 years. So my health insurance, they looked at me and saying, "We have never had a case from someone like coming back after 5 years before you left. You, in Germany, there's a way of registering, like if you want to become an independent business owner." So they had no idea what to do. So they sent me away. And I was like, okay, um, there has to be a way, because I'm pregnant and I don't want to pay out of the pocket my giving birth in a hospital. And I don't want to bore you with these details, but I figured out a way of getting back into the system. And so we sticked around for a while um, in Germany until my mom got better. She didn't do any chemotherapy, and I think the fact that we were around and that she saw her grandson, lighting up her day, that was the best therapy ever. And today she's fine. She's, you know, I mean, she's not the youngest, of course, but she got rid of the cancer. And so I was happy to be able to, be by her side for a while. And then after Vincent was 3 months old, and we decided to take him on his first road trip. So we drove all the way from Germany to southern Italy, which was fun. And we decided he's travel proof. And after we did a couple of short trips within Europe during that first year with him. And then when he was 1 year, we decided to hit the road again and, continue with our own life. And went back to the nomadic lifestyle until COVID hit. Oh no, sorry. Then I skipped my second son. Obviously, my second son was born on the Canary Islands. That was we chose that place because someone recommended the island, and I simply wanted a place where I was able to have like the peaceful birth, because the first birth was very peaceful, and the only interruption was really the way to the hospital. So I decided to not do that again with my second son, and we actually planned to have a birth at home with a midwife, but the midwife came too late, so it was a birth all by ourselves, and it turned out to be really great. Yes.
Wow. You also mentioned COVID.
Yes.
How has that one influenced your nomad lifestyle?
Yeah, big time. Like, I guess everyone else is affected by it, but for us it was like this. We came to Thailand in January 2020 when I was booked for um, to speak at a conference, a nomad digital nomad live. Oh, sorry, a digital nomad conference. So I gave a talk about social media marketing, and after that, we had only planned to stay in Thailand for 2 months, because in March we were going to go to Italy. There was also a conference where I was also booked, and then COVID happened, and we stayed here. When the decision was made that we were not able to go to Italy, I mean, there was also, Germany wasn't an option really to go. Chile also wasn't an option. And since we don't have a home, it was the only reasonable thing to do, simply to stay put. And that's why we are still here in Thailand. And it's been now, 13 months, 14 months now. And in this respect, COVID has been really great for us, like just because we were lucky enough to be in such a beautiful place. But of course, I'm not saying that COVID is great, but we were simply lucky that we were just, we could have been in New Delhi, and I clearly would not want to be 14 months in Delhi. No, but yeah, we're here on a remote little island. There are many like-minded families. COVID is not a topic at all. Like, we can walk around without masks. There's no COVID cases whatsoever, and it's been just a very normal year for us here. Our kids, they're running around naked all day, and yeah, I feel grateful every single day that we've been stuck here in Thailand. And so that's why we clinch to our visas here until they keep us and let us stay in the country. That's been the most, nerve-wracking issue around it, because every month we're looking at the government, the Thai government, how will they decide, but they've extended the visa amnesty and let tourists stay here, because they also realize that it's madness. I mean, you cannot send people away to their home countries where people are really affected by COVID much more than here. So yeah, that's been COVID for us.
Lucky you.
Yeah, I know.
And if somebody is now, in spite of COVID, they are considering becoming a digital nomad, what do they have to take into account?
Okay, first of all, I mean, I do help people in one-on-one coachings. People come to me when they are just like before that decision: should we go full-time nomadic? Should we just take a break? Or, when they had asked those questions and they come to me, and I always say, okay, figure out your finances first. That is, you have to have your finances in place. I learned it the hard way. I spent all my money first on traveling, and then I figured out how to make money on the road. It was okay. It took me a while to do that, and I learned, and all these mistakes from that I can now share with my coaching clients. So they don't have to do the same mistakes. But if you are in the lucky position where you can still make a plan, then I would highly recommend that you just either keep your day job for another few months and then build on the side your online business, or set up a saving plan, or have something in place that will give you peace of mind. Because it is not that you can sit by the beach with your laptop and work a couple of hours, and then the rest of the day you just do nothing but play in the sand with your family. uh, there are so many people who give the wrong impression that digital nomads are just enjoying their lives. It's actually the other way around. I work probably not more than in my old job, but I work as hard as I did before, and there were times when it was harder, because you are depending on your own motivation. I mean, it depends. If you're starting an online business, you're your own boss, and you have to have that mentality to um, to be really focused, dedicated, and disciplined, because that's essentially what brings you and turns you into a successful business owner. Or you decide to do freelance job, but then you also have to, you have to have a structure and really deliver high quality products or services. Otherwise, no one else will hire you again, and it's not a sustainable business. So be very clear about that. But once you figured out a way to make money, and once you've got your okay, this is it. I'm passionate about this topic, or I'm really good at that. Like, find your skill where you're good at it, and then turn it into money, because it has never been so easy to make money. Then since in this century, like online, it's wonderful. There's so many opportunities, and most people have skills that they can translate into an online job, or even an online business. So yeah, talk to someone who has gone through it. Sometimes, I'm not saying everyone should have a coach, but I think even, get inspiration from friends, or um, it clearly helps to get you from that maybe conditioned mindset that we're all having, and that I had when I started. I did never imagine that there was such a an alternative lifestyle, because no one talks about it. Of course, how can you know it if you're in the system? All you know is your neighbor goes to work from 9 to 5. Your family members, everyone goes and does the same thing. How can you assume that there's such thing like a deliberating thing that you can actually work from anywhere in the world, and then structure the day as it pleases you, you know? And it's possible. And yeah, I'm not the only living proof of it, but I like to think that there should be more. And yeah, I'm here. I think, have you heard of ikigai? Ikigai, that's a Japanese word for your, your mission in life. So if you find that, uh, then you should definitely like stick to it. And I decided that this is my mission, to inspire others to at least, follow their dreams and try it out once in their lives. If you don't like it, or if it doesn't work, at least you can say you tried it, and you can always go back to your old life. It's gonna sit there and wait for you.
That's comforting.
Yeah.
And now it's time for our quick tips section. And this is something what we do regularly on our podcast. And my question is, what is your biggest revelation about nomad life?
Biggest revelation. Oh, okay. So I think, I think that there are actually a lot more people living that lifestyle than it seems like there are. When I first came across that term, I thought it was like a couple of hundred people, but it's actually a huge movement, and it is not only. I think it's not just a bubble, but I think that it's actually the future of working. Especially after and due to COVID, the work, yeah, the way we work and the way we used to work has to change. And digital nomads have already the advantage of knowing how it works. And I think now it's just a time for more people to jump on that train. Um, but then at the same time, I would say that it's also not for everyone, you know? And you have to simply be honest to yourself. Just don't try to force yourself into something just because you feel like it's the next big thing.
So we should listen to ourselves and
Yes.
check whether this kind of lifestyle would be suitable for us.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Julia, for joining us and sharing all those great tips and your fantastic journey in different
Yes.
countries.
Thank you.
And if
Thanks for having me.
and if our listeners would like to know more about you and follow you, where can they do so?
I do have the set website, jjetter.com, where I share tips about traveling in the digital nomad lifestyle. And then I'm all over social media because I'm a social media coach. And so you find me also with the handle jjetter. And I'm new to Clubhouse, which I really love the Clubhouse app. If you're also on it, find me there with my first and last name, Julia Jerg. But yeah, so that's me. I'm happy to, stay in touch. People need something.
And you have also invitation to our listeners. Can you please mention?
Yes, I mean, If someone is interested in using Facebook strategically to either create a stronger online presence or use it for your own online business or creating an online business, I do have a premium one-on-one coaching program which is called Facebook for Sales, and it's a 4 weeks program where I do help people with strategic moves to reach their ideal clients and sell their products or service through Facebook. So yeah, be happy to talk about that more.
Yeah, and you find all the links also in our show notes, so please come and join there. And thank you once again, Julia. It was really pleasure to have you in our podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for having me again. It was a pleasure to be on the show.
Come and check all the show notes and transcript at Step Up and Thrive podcast/17. Thank you for joining Step Up and Thrive with Julia Jerg. I'm your host, Tuuli Paksi. Tune in next week.